The introduction of the Quick Riposte and Defense Ploy seal have many members of the Fire Emblem Heroes community screaming, broken. Is it really as powerful as people are suggesting? And how will these seals really affect the meta? And more importantly, how will they affect Fire Emblem? Let's take a closer look and break down how they work. Quick Riposte is one of the best enemy phase B-slot skills in the game, allowing even slow units to double back regardless of speed as long as they have enough HP threshold, which allows more damage and quicker cooldowns. Some units live or die by having Quick Riposte in their B-slot, and it paves the way for slower and bulkier units as a whole. However, now that armor units have Vengeful Fighter in their arsenal, Quick Riposte is mostly relegated in usefulness to bulky non-armors. With the introduction of Quick Riposte as a seal, it opens up all sorts of interesting combinations with a variety of other B slots. The B slot is a highly competitive skill slot, and being able to combine Quick Riposte with other B slot options is incredibly powerful. Here are a few interesting examples. Quick Riposte as a seal now opens up Guard as an even more excellent B slot option. Now that there are so many cooldown reducing skills in the game, many units thrive on being able to proc their specials on the first encounter. Guard stops this cold. Renewal plus Quick Riposte is a nice, sustainable combination, with Renewal healing and allowing the unit to maintain that high HP threshold and stay in that Quick Riposte range. Quick Riposte plus Vantage is going to be a very common and very popular option, allowing an enemy to become an all-inclusive enemy phase destroyer, guaranteeing doubles at high health and preemptively attacking first at low health. Breaker skills like Swordbreaker, Bowbreaker, Lancebreaker, etc. work in tandem with Quick Riposte seal. While it may seem redundant, it can guarantee doubles in instances where you would otherwise have your weapon broken. For example, if you're running a Camilla with Axebreaker and defending against another Camilla with Axebreaker, the two Axebreaker effects cancel out, normally leaving the speed stat to determine the doubling potential. However, if you have a Quick Riposte seal, it adds another layer of skill-activated double, meaning your defending Camilla will double regardless of the speed stat. I'll go over this in a bit more detail later. And finally, no, it's not just an exhibit meme. Putting Quick Riposte in your Quick Riposte is actually a thing. Similar to Breaker skills, if a skill either enables or disables an attack count double, it gets nullified by an enemy skill that disables or enables an attack count, respectively. Let's take a look at how these skills interact in more detail. Here's a list of some common skills in the game that either force or disable a double. Wary Fighter disables doubles for all parties involved in the interaction. Brash Assault forces the double at a certain HP threshold. Swordbreaker either forces the double or disables an enemy double all at the same time. Quick Riposte forces the double. Hector's Armades also forces the double on enemy phase, and Ephraim's Sigmund Refinement forces the double on offense. Each of these skills either enables or disables doubles on enemy phase or player phase, regardless of the speed stat. When a skill that enables doubles and a skill that disables doubles interacts, they cancel each other out, such as this Wary Fighter and Quick Riposte interaction, and then the speed stat is left to determine the double. However, if you stack multiple skills that either enable or disable doubles, the second skill will still take effect because it hasn't been cancelled out, like if we pop this second Quick Riposte on this unit. So which flyers should you slap this coveted seal on? Well, let's take a look. Camilla has great defenses and decent speed to avoid doubles, but misses out on some doubles against speedy mage users if you run distant counter builds. Quick Riposte is a natural fit for her, and using it as a seal opens up additional versatility. Baruka is an absolute flying fortress, with physical attacks bouncing off of her meaty defense stat. Her speed, on the other hand, is laughably bad. Quick Riposte allows her to double back and charge that Ignis for a face full of hurt on enemy phase. While Paula's overall balanced stats don't really need Quick Riposte, she certainly appreciates it, and it adds to her overall flexibility by letting her double the effect with Swordbreaker against quick reds, or Guard to prevent Ira or Black Knight from proccing that special against her. Happy New Year Camilla, especially if you end up pulling a minus speed one, can greatly benefit from having the guaranteed counter double, especially if you end up running a Slaying Edge build that enjoys quicker cooldowns. Further, Swordbreaker is becoming more and more common as a B-slot counter, and utilizing Quick Riposte on enemy phase can help to nullify this. Halloween Noe is a high-attack, low-speed mage with average defenses. The Quick Riposte seal will allow her to act as a mage bait in certain instances. Valter's low speed and high defense lends itself very well to the Quick Riposte seal, and with his Cursed Lance, he can guarantee the necessary procs for specials in additional damage. Michaelis is an absolute monster with an impressive HP, attack, and defense stat, which is again the ideal stat line for utilizing something like Quick Riposte. And in version 2.0, the upgrades to his weapon make him an even bigger force to be reckoned with. Next up, let's touch upon the Defense Ploy seal. Now, while it may not have gotten the same fanfare as the Quick Riposte seal, it's arguably an even stronger component to Flier teams. Ploys are excellent C skills that have infinite horizontal and vertical debuff range across an entire map. As mentioned, Flyers are the best users and escapees of Ploy skills given their freedom of movement. They can move across different terrain, mountains, and rivers without issue, and this allows them to not only be effective in staying within the vertical space of an opposing unit, but also approaching from an angle, so as to avoid being ployed themselves. Ploys create large-scale debuffs that benefit the entire team, and further, debuffs that can potentially affect the entire enemy team if your positioning is right. If your Flyer debuffs an opponent from across the map, a closer positioned ally can take advantage of the debuff to enhance their own combat proficiency. To be a good user of Defense Ploy, Flyers just require some moderate resistance. Anywhere around 30 or above should be sufficient. Enemy units with higher resistance in Arena generally will have lower defense anyway to compensate for that strong stat, so you won't need that ploy to get the one-hit kill. The biggest reason why the Defense Ploy seal is so strong is because you no longer have to choose between the ploy and movement-based buffs. One of the biggest detractors of using ploys on Flyers is that you couldn't also utilize their Flyer buffs at the same time. This is no longer an issue, and the two work together in tandem. Further, you could stack Defense Ploy with a Speed or Attack Ploy for an even more debilitating set of debuffs on your opponent. So who are the best Flyers for using Defense Ploy? Caeda's biggest claim to fame is her speed and her resistance stat. To be sure, she sports the highest resistance for a Flyer in the entire game at a whopping 34, which makes her a prime candidate for Defense Ploy. It's too bad about that attack stat, but that's exactly what Defense Ploy assists with. Camilla features the highest resistance for a green Flyer in the entire game, which makes her a prime candidate as a mage killer and a Defense Ploy user. Claire, while having otherwise unimpressive stats, can run Defense Ploy handily with her 33 resistance at neutral. Est is another candidate for Defense Ploy with 32 resistance, and has some relatively good attack as well. Of these, Camilla and Est are probably the strongest and most balanced users of Defense Ploy, while being able to also function and play the field offensively. Other notable users of Defense Ploy are res boon variations of powerful Flyers. These include Summer Corrin with a respectable 30 resistance, Alincia with a solid 31 resistance, Shanna sports an impressive 32 resistance, Paula comes in at 30 resistance, and Halloween Noe has 31 resistance. So even if you haven't managed to pull the ideal IVs of these particular Flyers, it can be a blessing in disguise since they can now utilize Defense Ploy seals without sacrificing their C-slot option for Flyer buffs. And that concludes my breakdown of the Quick Riposte and Defense Ploy seal in the context of Flier Emblem. I hope you found it somewhat useful, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. If you have any suggestions for new videos, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, protect those skies.